I'm Arlene from the Backyard Urban Farm Company, and it's the third week in March, and that means it's time to start your heat-loving seedlings indoors, and I'm going to show you how. Now we're in Toronto, and that means we are in hardiness zone 5-6. And what that means is that our last frost date is somewhere around May 11th to May 20th. And we like to plant out our tomatoes and other heat lovers like peppers and basil and eggplant. We like to plant them out around May 2-4 weekend. That's about 10 weeks away. So that's giving us plenty of time to grow and develop the plants before then. Now, why do we start them indoors? Why bother even doing that? Well, tomatoes take a long time to fully mature and develop their fruit. And they also like warm weather, so they need to be planted out when it's warm. So we have to give them a good head start so they can develop indoors and then grow to fruition so we can harvest their fruit around August, the end of August. Okay, so I'm going to show you what we need. So first thing, potting mix. And I like to amend potting mix, a nice fluffy potting mix, organic if you can get it, with vermicompost or worm castings. And so you're going to need potting mix, worm castings. You're going to need these little 1-inch cells to start your seedlings in. If you start them in a small 1-inch cell, then they'll be able to develop a nice strong root ball. So when you'll be ready to pop them up, they'll be well developed. So you're also going to need a tray to put them in, and some kind of a dome, a plastic dome like this, and 4-inch pots. When they develop after about 4 or 5 weeks, you'll be potting them up into there. Okay, and of course you're going to need seed and a little manicure kit, and I'll tell you why afterwards. Okay, so let's get started. So I've already filled most of these, but I am going to show you how I like to fill them. I don't wear gloves because I like to feel the soil in my hands. Some people like to wear gloves, and that's no problem. If you do use your just your bare hands, then make sure you wash your hands afterwards, after you finish your potting up process. Never be too careful. All right. So here we go. So the tray is ready. I have labeled it. So I'm going to be planting old German seeds, tomato seeds. These are amazing tasting tomatoes. And I've also dated it so I know when I started them, because you'd be amazed at how often you forget. When did I start them? So here are the seeds. I'm going to pour them into my hand, just a few. And now my manicure kit is going to come in handy. This is what they look like, tomato seeds. Little tiny seeds. And I'm going to take my manicure kit and I'm going to actually use tweezers to pick them up. But before I do that, I'm going to actually do a little indentation in the soil here. So just a little indentation. They don't need to go deep. If you're wondering ever how deep to plant a seed, you should measure basically 2 to 4 times the diameter of the seed. So you can see here's like 4 seeds. So it's very, very small. They don't need to go deep. Oops, bit of shadow there. Can you see that? Okay. So I'm going to take the seed with my tweezers, or you can use your fingers. And I'm going to put it in the soil, right in the center. Now, some people hedge their bets and put 2 or 3. So I'm going to put 2 there. You're going to ultimately only want 1 growing at a time, but if you want to ensure germination, this is a great way to do it, by putting 2 in at a time. And there you go. These tweezers are working really nicely. And if you put them on top of each other, you can just separate them a little bit as well. I'm going to put these aside for the moment and I'll get back to it. And once they're on the soil, then you're just going to cover them up. After I made that little indentation, I can put them in a little bit and just cover them up like that. And I think that's just plenty. Maybe if you wanted to add a little bit more soil, you could over top, just to make it a little bit deeper. And so they're covered a little bit more. And then you need to water. I like to use a watering can, but some people like spray bottles to start. I find a watering can is really good. The soil is dry, so I'm not too worried about over watering it at this point. Watering is always a tricky thing. People always ask us, how much do I water? So if you're looking at your soil, it should look moist but not sopping. One of the key problems when beginners start is they overwater and they get into all sorts of problems. So just go for moist, not sopping. Okay, so assume I've done this whole tray. I've seeded them. I've watered them. The next thing is to cover it with the dome. And what's really great about this dome is it keeps warmth in, keeps moisture in, but it also has these little valves here that you can open up, or vents really, they're not valves. So leave them open, and then it's time to put them under lights. And if you don't have lights, then you're gonna have to put them in a sunny windowsill, something like that. So now you have a garden, an indoor garden, so you have to take care of it. So you have to visit it every day. You can expect the seeds to germinate in about 7 to 10 days, and they'll start to grow and develop, and by the time after about 4 weeks, it'll be time to pot them up into a larger pot, and that's our next video. So thanks very much for watching, and happy growing.